But then I didn't stop at Santa Claus because it was also affecting the elves. So if we really look at the quantity of gluten at the North Pole, elves are supposed to be taller than they are. What they suffer from is a condition called FTT, which we know gluten causes. This is very common in non-elf children as well, right? So we have young children that are exposed to gluten and they fail to grow, they fail to thrive. So they have reduced weight, shortened stature. As we can see, this is a normal-sized elf here, and then these are elves that have their growth stunted, right? So we know elves suffer from a form of failure to thrive. They also have a lot of obsessive-compulsive behavior around toys. I mean, they're making toys year-round. That's all they do, right? But we also see the obsession and the compulsion in elves because of the way that they dress. They're always, if you ever notice an elf, you don't ever see an elf wearing any other color than green. This is part of the obsessive compulsion that they have. Santa Claus has the same thing, only he's always wearing red and white, but the elves prefer green. So they have this obsessive compulsive behavior around their choice of clothing, right? And then, if you look at their diets, this is the elf food guide pyramid. They don't eat as many cookies as Santa Claus. I mean, they do eat cookies, don't get me wrong, elves like cookies. But, the number one list, the top of their food guide pyramid is syrup. But in today's world, they're no longer getting this really good maple syrup. So it's no longer maple syrup that they're getting, right? It's this synthetic maple flavored, right? Maple, it's very important that you understand the difference, right? Maple flavored syrup, which is technically not even syrup because it's where's it derived from? It's derived from corn, which is extremely problematic, right? And so the elves are constantly sipping on syrup, right? While simultaneously sucking on candy canes. Now the same problem here, right? If we look at this food guide pyramid of the elves, right? It's all really pretty much the candy on it is corn based because whether or not it's corn syrup being used, these wrapped candies that these elves eat, a lot of it's corn syrup, but also if you notice the wrapping, if you ever open one of these, how does that candy not stick to the wrapper? It's a trick of the candy industry. They take wheat dust and they dust the candy with the wheat dust to prevent it from sticking to the wrapper. And so the elves are constantly opening up their candy, right? And they're being exposed to that wheat dust, getting this mega gluten exposure. Remember, it only takes one breadcrumb size of gluten to create an inflammatory response for up to 2 months. So again, we've got shortened stature. As I mentioned earlier, they're wearing compression socks, right? And this is, again, to stop the lymphedema and the peripheral swelling from occurring. And then the compulsion around the color green, and the compulsion around candies and toys, constant eating of candy and the production of toys. So we really have to understand that gluten is a major issue. Now, some of you are like, Dr. Osborne, what do you mean corn? Why has that got gluten? If that's you, if you don't realize that there's a form of gluten in corn, please go back and look at some of my research. You can read my book, No Grain, No Pain. Go check it out at the library, or you can come to Gluten Free Society and check that out in the blog. But corn is a major gluten-containing grain. It contains a type of gluten called zane, which is very detrimental to people with gluten sensitivity. And as breaking news shows, the elves have a major gluten epidemic going on within their population right now.